The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Alongside Carson-Newman baseball coach Tom Griffin, I'm Michael Watchring, and this is the Eagles Sports Network. Carson-Newman gets ready for a 3-game set on the road at Catawba. And, Coach, anytime you mention that word, Catawba, you think of the team that no matter what you do to win a championship in this league, at least right now, you got to go through them at some point. You go on the road to them this season. They're one of the top teams in the league yet again this year. What's it going to take for your group to put aside what happened last week as a whole, utilize what you did against Belmont Abbey, and come out against Catawba and get a couple victories?
You're right about when you mentioned Catawba. You mentioned character. You mentioned about how they play the game the right way. You mentioned a lot of quality. It really is. Coach Gant has set the standard, I think, within our conference about who you're trying to get to. So it's always a challenge. Then to do it at their place makes it a little bit more difficult. But Michael, all we could do is control. We got to make sure on the mound that we're coming out and competing and can get our starters a little bit farther along, because I think that helps at all times as well. We've gotten a lot of guys work offensively. We've got a couple guys that maybe are just kind of got to get back on track, and we got a couple days to work on some things, get the confidence level back up. I think what has happened in the past completely gets forgotten, and all you worry about is the next pitch. If that's what we're going to talk about as our mantra is, hey, one pitch at a time, this pitch, then you got to forget the past. That's part of what good hitters have to do. You have to forget your successes. You have to forget your failures and just worry about this pitch. One of the things we talk about, it too shall pass. That means bad things are going to pass and also good things. We just don't want the good things to be away too far. But I think that's what we want to impress upon our guys with the game of baseball, so they can take that into the game of life and to understand that no matter what has happened, guys are going to kind of mix it up for us, and you just got to be prepared. And we got a day off tomorrow that we have to take, and then Thursday get back at it, and then take our trip over to Catawba and know it's going to be a really competitive affair.
We talked about a month ago about how things are always evolving within your group. We saw Matt Bradley get a start last weekend. And you got a lot of guys that have shown at times the ability to give you solid innings.
Yeah.
You mentioned getting some starters pushed out a little bit. How important is it right now for maybe one or two guys to set themselves apart and give you about 6 innings every week?
Have to. In games like this, you have to have people step up and be who they are. If the guy is a really good player, he's got to play good. If he's one of your better hitters, he's got to have a good day. And then there's going to be a guy that maybe they're not really expecting. They don't want certain guys to beat you. There's other guys to be like, well, let's see if he can beat us. They got to have a good day. That's how you win ball games against really good clubs like that. On the mound, the starters we've used this year have all been very effective at one time or another. Very good. We've been, the staff's thrown very well, and our relievers have done a good job. How we're going to use guys this weekend, I think it just depends on how the games go, because they're so interchangeable. We got guys that can start and close. We got guys that can start and be middle relief. And that's, one way you'd love to have just 3 main starters and bing, bang, boom, and go. But I think the versatility of our arms and the ability of what they can do on the mound is actually an advantage as well, that a guy might come in relief Friday, could come and pitch again on Saturday, maybe start the 7-inning game. So that's kind of what Coach Bounds and the staff we've talked about, is seeing, let's worry about game 1, first pitch. Let's see what happens there, and then we'll decide what we'll do for the next 2.
We've talked about Ethan Goforth being solid, Tyler Thompson, the top of the order having good starts to the season. Well, I think you're starting to get a little bit more length now. Alan Silva's brought a little bit there at the bottom of the order. He's up now right around 300. I thought Micah Genter's hit the ball really hard the last several times as well. What do you think about how the bottom of your lineup is starting to grow a little bit and starting to bring a little bit more to the table and add some length to the lineup?
That's a great point. It is doing a good job. And Micah Genter is a great defensive player and really has had some good at-bats. We used to be a switch hitter, and we finally convinced him that the left side wasn't his best side, and so now he can focus on one side, and I think he's had really good at-bats. And, the depth part of it, too. Michael, we've got some good depth, and some guys have all gotten good at-bats in here that we feel like anyone can compete if we feel there's a good matchup, if we need to make a change, or we just have a good gut feeling about something. That's nice to have, and they've all gotten their work in, so... No, we're excited. after what this weekend. Good response during the week, and look forward for another challenge against just an outstanding ball club.
Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, brother.
He's Carson-Newman coach Tom Griffin. I'm Michael Watchering, and this is the Eagle Sports Network.